Hello, everybody. This is Tyrell from the Nosebleed Show. Just want to say thank you to everybody that has watched our AFC preview so far. So far, did the AFC North, South, and East, and the West should be coming out either tomorrow or Sunday. So, just want to appreciate everybody that watched, that liked, that comment, and our new subscribers. Want to say welcome to the show, and I appreciate you guys subscribing. So today we're going to talk about something very serious, something very opinionated, and something that I wanted to wait on my own thoughts, my own opinions, my own emotions behind this, and that is the passing of Hulk Hogan, who passed away yesterday, or was that Wednesday? I kind of get my days mixed up when I work, but he passed away, and I've seen some people be confused about it. Some people have been essentially forgotten or don't acknowledge or in most cases do not care about the things he said behind the scenes and the things that he has done. Other people have focused on the comments that he made and have not focused on the wrestling side of things. And some people are in the middle. And I'm one of those guys that's in the middle. Let me make one thing clear. This is my opinion based on my thoughts, my feelings. I do not represent a community, and I don't go pro this, pro that, anti this, anti that when it comes to this topic. I don't. So I don't want to hear people talking about, oh, you're misrepresenting black people. I don't want to hear about, oh, well, you're black, so why do you care? Or you're black and you should get over it. I don't want to hear none of that. This has nothing to do with race, political list stuff, even though all that's going to tie in. This is just my opinion on the man and the character of Hulk Hogan, also, or his actual name, Terry Bollea, also known as Hulk Hogan. I want to say this. You cannot tell the story of professional wrestling without Hulk Hogan. There's very few people that have been in the wrestling business that you can tell, excuse me, correction, that you cannot tell the story of professional wrestling without saying that person's name. Hogan's one of those. And on my list, I would say it'd be Bruno Sammartino, it would be Vince McMahon, it'd be Ted Turner, it'd be Hulk Hogan, it'd be The Rock, it'd be Stone Cold Steve Austin, just to name a few. There's some other guys in there. Flair's another guy that you can put in there, especially if you know your history on professional wrestling, whether it's basic or advanced, whatever it may be. To me, other guys that come to mind that most people wouldn't say, but I would definitely say come to mind to me would be Buddy Rogers. It'd be Gorgeous George. It'd be Andre the Giant. To me, those are guys that you cannot tell the story of professional wrestling without their impact. Lou Thesz, another guy that just came to mind. That when you talk about professional wrestling, these are the names that play so big into what it is today. Regardless of how you feel about it, regardless if you're like, oh, that's fake, that's phony, or, you're defended to your highest honor, whatever it may be, Hulk Hogan is that guy that is universally known across this nation and around the world. And he's a guy that got his start as a bodybuilder, weightlifter. Was in, a lot of people don't realize this, but was in the WWF, now WWE, before he left to go to the AWA. He starred in Rocky 3. He was in Rocky 3, made a huge impact in Rocky 3, and came back. And by the time he came back in late 82, 83-ish, I want to say he wasn't even in the company in 1982, but he definitely was there in 83, before the year before WWE took off. I always see 1983 for WWF, WWE as kind of like this quiet before the storm type thing, because in 84 it just essentially started to become what it is today. And You can't tell that story without Hulk Hogan. Even his wrestling is controversial, just in the sense of there are people that just appreciate his aura and his simplicity of his matches. Get some offense in, let the heel get his heat, starts a fight from underneath, hulks up. Next thing you know, points the finger, punch, 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 Irish whip off the rope, big boot, bounces off the rope, runs the ropes, leg drop. That's it. And he did that carrying the company, carrying the WWF. His main events with the likes of, with Mr. T, obviously, but with the likes of Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper, Andre the Giant, WrestleMania 3. Again, a moment that has been burned into America's head. You don't even have to be a wrestling fan to know what I'm talking about with Andre and Hulk Hogan. The Scoop Slam heard around the world. And not to mention the rematch that happened on Saturday night's main event that drew 33.5 million people across the country on Saturday night. And his impact just reached levels of like which was never seen before in the wrestling industry on a national level. Another name I thought of, Macho Man Randy Savage. That you can't tell the story of professional wrestling without. And you can kind of see this shift and going into the 90s that people were starting to turn against Hulk Hogan, but he was still a huge, huge star nonetheless. And he made an impact. He made an impact that, again, very few people made in the wrestling industry. So when I think about Hulk Hogan, that's what I think about. I also think about Hulk Hogan of NWO. The one thing I would say about Hogan that I don't think I can truly say about any other professional wrestler. There have been thousands of professional wrestlers, thousands of them. There have been hundreds of stars. There's been tens of hundreds of stars across the landscape of professional wrestling. And I can honestly say, as of right now, that only one man, only one above everybody else, only one can sit back and say they carry two companies nationally. Carry two, not one, but two. Because Hogan, when he signed with WCW in 1993-1994, he legitimized WCW as a actual competitor to WWE. That's the equivalent of today if right now we're going through this John Cena retirement tour. And on December 31st this year, John Cena retires. And then on January 2nd, it's announced that John Cena is All Elite. That's the only thing I can equivalent it to, because it will legitimize AEW as, okay, this is something we can actually take serious again. But Hogan was that. And we can get into the Pastamania thing that bombed and failed. And what do you mean, brother? Eat your Hulkaroos and Hulkaroos, dude. You little Hulkamaniacs, brother. But everybody knows. Say your vitamins, eat your prayers, 24-inch pythons, brother. What do you mean, Mean Gene? You know, and the thing I can't take away from Hogan as a face or a heel was his promos. And his character was so believable. And I like my favorite Hulk Hogan moments is really not something that happened in the ring. It was the contract signing between Hogan and Andre the Giant, where Hulk is pleading with Giant, and he's like, "Why are you doing this? Why are you teaming up with Bobby Heenan? And what's going on?" And Andre explains why he's doing it, and Andre rips the shirt of Hulk Hogan and the crucifix off of Hulk Hogan, which was a huge deal at the time. Like, people will see it, he ripped the crucifix off, but especially in a country that was still Christian-centric, Um, that was a huge deal. That was a massive, massive deal. And I look at that moment, and then the press conference that they had, which I believe you could find on Peacock. The WrestleMania 3 press conference that they had was very good. Um, Hogan is just another guy that transcended the professional wrestling industry forever. And like I said, even when he went to WCW and he started off as a face, people didn't like it. And he's the third guy for the Outsiders, and they create the New World Order. And yes, Bischoff, Hogan, whatever it may be, they ran it through the mud. They sucked as much money out, pause, as much as they can. And for whatever good, bad, and different pros and cons you got to that, it worked. It worked, and it made the WWF change its approach to the wrestling industry. It made them change their ways. Matter of fact, as a coworker of mine brought it up to me, you can sit back and say Hogan is the reason the Attitude Era exists. When NWO was the hottest thing, it forced Vince to change his booking, his writing to his shows. His shows. But you can also say Hulk Hogan was a major key in the downfall of WCW as well, especially with the finger poke of doom, his politics, anybody that came in higher than him, getting paid more than him. That Kevin Nash and Scott Hall had that deal as well. Nobody else, they'll all get a raise. Nobody can get paid higher than them. The only person that was paid higher than all three of those guys was Bret Hart. They had to literally waive that clause in their contract so they can sign Bret Hart. So Hogan made a big deal. Hogan, his politics, his backstage politics is also the reason why the wrestling business is what it is today. A prime example of that is Hogan snitching on Jesse Ventura about unionizing the locker room. I don't know if it still would have happened, but we don't know for sure because Hogan was the one who snitched and told Vince that Jesse is unionizing the locker room. And even to this day, because of that, in my opinion, that is why the wrestling locker room is not unionized today. It's been calling for it. It's been, well, it should happen and everything like that. But at the end of the day, it didn't happen because of Hulk Hogan. And this is something where I might do a deep dive into Hulk Hogan's career and do like a 2-part or a 3-part video on this. I'm not sure yet. But I just wanted to give my opinion and just kind of give my thoughts on this. And I look back at old videos of Hogan in the 2000s and to see his return to the WWE, facing off against The Rock, arguably top 10, I would say top 10 biggest WrestleMania matches of all time to this day. And his ability to change as a face, coming in as a heel, change as a face on the fly because the crowd reaction was amazing, extraordinary work by Hogan and The Rock. And then what doesn't get talked about a lot is his first solo entrance the day after Mania, and they wouldn't let him talk. They just cheered him, and he didn't come out with Real American and all that stuff, which I found an interesting fact about Real American. His theme song, I am a real American. That song was not for him originally, but we'll get into that in another video. Massive pop, and every time he came back, when he came back in 2005, that first run, before the Shawn Michaels thing and everything, even though that was legendary in his own ways. He just made such a huge impact, and everybody talks about his return to Montreal, right? And how loud that pop was. The one I think about is Backlash 2005. It's him and Michaels versus Daivari and Muhammad Hassan. And Muhammad San is a whole nother thing. But as a sidebar, real quick, Muhammad San is controversial, but like his heel run was 9 months, and it's been 20 years later, and we still talk about him. Successful heel run. So going back to Hogan, which it kind of ties in because it was shortly after 9/11, and the whole Muhammad Hassan was the whole Muslim gimmick, and very anti-American, and well, I wouldn't even say anti-American per se. It was more of him like bringing out people's guiltiness about how they treated Muslims at the time. And Hogan is the American hero. You're not going to talk bad about America. You're not going to talk bad about the people of America. And you have all the rights and freedoms just like everybody else. How dare you, crap on the country that you live in. And so when he returns to Backlash '05, massive pop. I think they were in Providence, Rhode Island. Massive. I mean, the place blew off. The roof blew off the building. And I watched that entrance, and I still got chills up my spine when I watched that entrance. It's one of my favorite entrances of all time from any wrestler. It was amazing. It was amazing. And yes, the Montreal one with him versus Angle was phenomenal as well. I won't deny that at all. Won't deny that at all. But to me, my favorite is the Providence, Rhode Island entrance at Backlash '05. Amazing entrance. Go check that out. They actually got that full match on YouTube. So just watch the whole thing. The energy, the build to it is, Shawn Michaels come out and, they're like, Hogan. And just when the crowd dies down, dun, dun, and place just goes crazy. I'm gonna watch that when I get done watching this, get done recording this video. It's getting chills talking about it right now because I can visualize it. And Hogan comes out and the crowd just roars even louder. It's like, dude, I didn't think you guys could get any louder, and they just took it to a whole nother level. And it's my favorite entrance of Hulk Hogan's. It's better than any WrestleMania entrance he made, and that is my favorite entrance, is the Backlash '05 with Hogan. So that's his legacy. It's amazing. And then the Bubba the Love Sponge incident happened. By the way, what type of fucking name is Bubba the Love Sponge for a dude? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Can't stand him anyway. We all know, people who know who Bubba the Love Sponge is know that he rode the coattails of Hulk Hogan to his career. I don't care what the fuck he say. Everybody know that. He was not funny. He wasn't entertaining. He was nothing. He had a sexual innuendo name, and that's that. So we know about the lawsuit between them. And then we know about the tapes that came out. And the one other thing that gets less talked about is the tapes that or the transcript that came out when Hogan went to go visit his son when his son was in jail, about hoping they didn't get reincarnated as black people or something like that. That's very well less known and kind of hard to find, but that did happen. But the one that everybody knows about is about when his daughter Brooke was dating a black man, and he was saying multiple racial slurs about his daughter dating black men and everything like that. That's when things turned for Hogan, and essentially to everybody, his true colors came out. This is where the controversial thing happens. In my opinion, those two things didn't come out, regardless if they happened or not, right? If they never came out, like nobody knew about any of that stuff, right? Nobody knew about any of that stuff. His legacy is not controversial. It's straightforward and narrow. Will I personally sit back and say that as a black man, Hulk Hogan hated me because I'm black and everything like that? No, I would say strongly dislike. I think people use hate too loosely these days. And I would say he probably would have strongly disliked me. He wouldn't have showed it in front of my face, I don't think. It's that video of him shaking hands with that black woman, and then he's like wiping his hands off instantly. It's kind of funny to me. And then the Real American Beer thing, he had a marketing team behind it. Had a black woman that was going to run his marketing, and she was doing a phenomenal job. And when he found out she was black, next thing you know, she gets replaced. So there's things like that. But that's what makes his legacy controversial. And the more he came out publicly with the company, he was away from the company for a while. They kicked him out of the Hall of Fame for it, and essentially they wiped him clean. But like I say, you can't wipe Hulk Hogan clean off of professional wrestling, no matter how hard you try, no matter how much you don't like it. Same thing with Vince McMahon. How much you don't like it, whatever it may be. Can't tell the story without those two. Can't tell the story without Hulk. Can't tell the story without Vince. So that's what makes it controversial. And that's what makes me sit back and go, what is the legacy of Hulk Hogan? As I explained for the first 20 minutes, that's his legacy. How great he was as a face, how great he was as a heel, how he carried two companies on his back, essentially. How he made another company that he wasn't involved in change their writing and their booking. How he almost tore down the company he helped build. That's what I think. That was the first 20 minutes of this video, essentially. But now you got this other side, the Terry Bollea side. And let me make it very, very clear. I don't agree with what he said. I don't condone what he said. I cannot stand what he said. Because it was, without a shadow of doubt, a general statement, and in his mind, a general consensus of what he thought about black people. Regardless, disagree me, cool. We are Americans, disagree me. That's your right. It's my right to say this too. And it's my right to look at somebody that, mind you, is still huge today, prior to his passing. Still huge. Everybody, I'm talking about, my mother called me about it. I had coworkers that don't watch wrestling come to me about it. I mean, everybody. And everybody also know what he said. That was a huge deal. That is a huge deal. But then I see the kids of today. I see my kids. And they love Hulk Hogan. He still resonates with kids 40 years later. 40 years later, they're watching recordings, they're watching his matches, and they love Hulk Hogan. So he still carries that legacy with him. But to know that he didn't like people like me based off the color of my skin, which in translates turns to him not liking my children because of the color of their skin, or he didn't, let me talk in past tense now. That's upsetting. I may not be showing it, but it's upsetting. And it's damning. Let's be real. It's damning. It's fucked up. It's damning. But Hogan ain't the only one that think like that. I've worked with people that thought like that, whether they said it out loud or they didn't. And I'm one of those people that go, I'd rather for you to say it out loud so I know not to talk to you. I'd rather someone show me their face. I'm one of the people, I don't like two-faced people, but I'd rather for people to show me their face. Show me who you are. If you are a racist piece of shit, you're a racist piece of shit. And I know not to fuck with you. Plain and simple. Ain't no, I gotta cost this man his job, or I gotta cost this woman her job, or anything like that. I know who the fuck you are. Don't fucking talk to me. Plain and simple. I wish more people would think like that. But it is what it is. Right? I don't give a fuck. Racist? Okay, cool. You're not cool. You racist? Don't fucking talk to me. I don't want to know how your day is going. I'll say hi and wave. I'll be very polite. Hey, how you doing? Good. Okay, cool. Don't want to say nothing to me? Cool. I don't care. As long as it don't cause me or my family or anybody else any harm, any physical harm or anything like that, I don't care. So that's the controversy of Hulk Hogan. Will I say his comments destroyed his wrestling legacy to the masses? Yes. Will I personally say it? No. No, he was too big of a star even to this day to where it destroyed his legacy. Did it destroy the human being? Did it destroy Terry Bollea's legacy? Absolutely. Absolutely. But did it destroy the legacy of Hulk Hogan? In my opinion, in my eyes, no, it did not. I can still get chills from the loudest pops he's ever gotten. I can still enjoy and love the moments he provided for us for 30 years. Even all the way up to his last appearance in TNA, where Dixie is he's dragging Dixie Carter as he walks out of the company, literally. But here's something that I saw yesterday. Actually, no, earlier today. And it was kind of a shame post to the people in Los Angeles that was in the Intuit Dome, what is now officially Hulk Hogan's last public appearance. And he was supposed to make more, but it all got canceled after he got booed out of the arena. Is there regret or shame to that? Do y'all regret booing him? I don't think anybody in that arena should regret booing him. One, how would you know that was his last time showing up? And two, Terry Bollea, the human being, deserved that. And I'm going to make this very clear. This had nothing to do with him talking at Trump's rallies. This has nothing to do with him being a Republican or a MAGA or anything like that. It has everything to do to those comments that he said 10 years ago, which is crazy because he passed away on the day those comments were released, 10 years later. Because remember, Undertaker came out. Undertaker's a huge Trump supporter, and they're in Los Angeles, and he gets a massive pop. He gets a massive pop. So it's not that. That's very simple. I don't know why people are still confusing that. It's very simple. But did Terry Bollea, the human being, deserve that? Absolutely. Did Hulk Hogan deserve that? No. If we're strictly talking about Hulk Hogan, taking away what he said in those tapes, taking that away and just strictly focusing on the character Hulk Hogan, no, he didn't deserve that. His ability to carry a company is why that happened. It was an impact from 40 years ago. It was an impact from 40 years ago. But the human being Terry Bollea definitely deserved that. So my legacy on Hulk Hogan is this. It's a mandate we will never, in my opinion, I don't think we'll ever see again in the wrestling business. We've come very close. We've come very close with Orton and Cena and even Roman Reigns. And yes, there are guys that have replicated what he's done. Austin and The Rock and The Undertaker. But like I said above, everybody else, again, Hulk Hogan carried two companies at two separate times in two different roles. One as a face, one as a heel. You cannot tell the story of professional wrestling. You cannot tell the history of two companies without the name Hulk Hogan. When you talk to people that used to watch wrestling or even non-wrestling fans, go Hulk Hogan. Non-wrestling fans go oh, I either they know him from Rocky 3. Oh yeah, I've heard his name, or anything like that. And people that used to watch wrestling, yeah, I remember when I used to watch Hulk Hogan, and I used to watch Stone Cold Steve Austin. I used to watch The Rock, and I used to watch The Undertaker, and I used to watch Macho Man Randy Savage. That's the impact. That's the legacy. That is Hulk Hogan. Universally known. A universal liar, too, if you watch some of his shoot interviews. But universally known nonetheless. But the man Terry Bollea, the man that would snitch on everybody and tear, like, essentially sometimes tear locker rooms apart and would bury people, and that's not gonna work for me, dude. That's not gonna work for me, brother. And the shit he said on those tapes, that's his legacy too. Two things can be true. And the legacy of Terry Bollea is fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you for hating people like me. Or strongly disliking people like me. Fuck you for the shit you said about black people. Fuck you for how you treated black people. Fuck you for that. You deserve to be booed out of that arena for that. But that doesn't mean I still can't appreciate Hulk Hogan. Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. Regardless of what your thoughts and opinions are, whether you want to forget about it or acknowledge it to its final core, the wrestling industry truly lost a legend. The wrestling industry truly lost a man that I can sit back and say, although I did not watch him live, I can truly say is the reason why I'm a professional wrestling fan. Because if it wasn't for his star power, who knows where wrestling would be at today? Who knows if I would have got to down the line when I watched it actually happen? The John Cena's, the Randy Ortons, the Undertakers, the Batistas, the Roman Reigns, the Seth Rollins, the Drew McIntyres. Who knows if I got to enjoy Roman Reigns' historic 4-year run as world champion. And I can truly say thank you, Hulk Hogan, for doing what you did for this business, for doing what you did for this industry. Thank you. But Terry Bollea, fuck you. This is Tyrell from Nosebleeds. Signing off.